Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of Another Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Steven, the Laggy Gamer, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host, none other than Master Extraordinaire Chef himself, Dusty Christ, soon to be on the Food Network. What's going on, man?
Soon to be on the Food Network.
Oh, yeah, it's happening.
Iron Chef, baby. I'm going for it. Hi, everyone.
And you win it hands down. And also introducing our third and permanent member of the Another Gaming Podcast, Chance himself, Mr. Doomwaves. What's going on, Chance? Are you excited to be an official member of Another Gaming Podcast?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
You can just see it spewing from his words. He's super excited.
He's
I'm jumping up and down.
So flabbergasted that he can't. Yeah.
I'm speechless.
Me and Dustin both we keep up with Chance a lot, and we're always talking back and forth, and we really enjoyed the podcast we had with him, and he's just a good pal. So we figured he'd be a perfect fit for a third member. What do you think, Dustin?
It's just we Skype with him so much, it just feels like he's already. I mean, fuck, he might already be a member. You know what I mean? Like it's like you were already a member before you were because we were just constantly talking.
Yeah, it's awesome to be a part of it, and I thank you guys very much. You both are excellent people and great YouTubers, and I love talking to you guys. So, what better way than to celebrate by being a member of the podcast?
That's awesome. I know there's probably tons of jealous people out there right now because you didn't make the cut. But
I'm gonna have some hate mail here, I think.
Yeah.
But no, Chance is just a great guy. I love hanging out with him, playing games with him, so it's awesome having him part of the podcast. So, but hey, man, you guys, it's been a month. What have you guys been up to, Chance? You haven't been on the podcast in a long time, so what have you been up to, man?
Not since the day after the end of the world.
Exactly.
So that's a long time. I've been playing a ton of games, and I've been fairly active on YouTube. Sometimes I feel like I record too many videos, but
Oh, don't feel that way.
yeah, I'm not doing like one every day or something like that.
I think I once put up 3 in one day, so I think you're still okay.
I try to keep one up, every couple of days, every 3 days, or at least once a week. I just think that's good for me, I guess. And my YouTube channel, I feel is just as much for me as it is for anyone else. I get on there and I don't script anything I'm going to say. So usually when I'm sitting there talking about games, I'm kind of formulating thoughts on the fly, and it's just it's kind of interesting to go back and listen to what I said. And not to sound vain or anything, but
Yeah.
I do watch my own videos, afterwards to make sure I don't sound like a jackass, and yeah. So
I used to go back and watch mine, but I don't anymore because I find myself boring, so I just don't like to watch it.
I actually
But,
I went back and watched some of my first videos. Like I watched the welcome video to my channel, which is still up, by the way. And I had to turn it off halfway through because I was like, "Holy crap, that is awful."
all my
Awful.
early ones are like that, yes. My most viewed review, I think, is my Valkyrie profile, Covenant of the Plume for the DS. And I tried rewatching it. I'm like, why is anyone even watching this review? It is so horrible. I am so monotone during the whole thing. It was ridiculous. But hey, people are still watching it. So
Yep, my first video was made with such a horrible camera that the sound is just nails on a chalkboard. It's bad, and it's in black and white because I couldn't get the picture to work right in color.
Yeah, it's
it
black
was
and white.
almost-
It was black and white to be classy.
Yeah, that's it. We'll go
So-
with classic.
But we're fresh off the heels of a pretty big announcement, you guys. 2 days ago, a day or two ago? I can't remember now. The announcement of the PlayStation 4 is soon to be hitting our store shelves this holiday season. And kind of some mixed reactions from a lot of people out there. I know me and Dustin, we tuned into the show, the conference of it. Dustin for some of it. And Chance didn't get a chance to see it, but Dustin, what are you thinking so far on this PS4?
Okay. Let me just talk about the conference first and foremost. I think it was definitely geared towards developers and not really for you and I, because that thing was a fucking snooze fest.
I got the same vibe, yes.
And it was so funny because I got done watching it, and I was kind of looking at people's comments about it online, and like everyone's like, "God, that sucked. That was horrible." And then IGN gets on there and goes, "Sony knocked it out of the park," and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" When the most exciting thing is the controller, and don't get me wrong, I love controllers. There's something wrong, there's nothing there. The lead game was Knack, whatever the hell that is, and that game is not. I'm sorry, that's not a system seller. That is not a system seller.
It's not.
And I tuned out because I was tired of hearing all these guys talk about the stuff that was under the hood, which I'm not a big I don't need to know what the guts are because that doesn't really mean anything to me. But then I started to read into like what they showed later on, and it's like they showed the same Agnes philosophy demo with Final Fantasy, and it's like, oh, we're going to announce this later. Don't worry. And it's like, what is Square doing? So, huh?
I was gonna say I have to. When they showed that demo, I saw people saying like, "This is the new Final Fantasy. It's so exciting." When the guy clearly said before they did it, "This is just a tech demo to show off the technology. It's not a game." Yet people are still insisting this is a game.
Yeah.
And then he says, "We're going to show you a game at E3."
And it's probably going to be Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn.
Or you think could be Versus?
It better be Versus. Good God, We're still waiting on that one, but we're getting Final Fantasy 13-3. Which I'm not.
Also had to throw in real quick when you were mentioning the tech specs. I thought it was funny how they opened. They said it was going to be a PS4, and it had like what it would be made of. They said it will have a big hard drive. They didn't tell you what it was.
Yeah.
They said it'll have a PC processor in it. They didn't show you what it was. Then they finally said, and it will have 8 gigs of memory. But they weren't telling you what was inside the console. They're saying it'll have a big hard drive.
They didn't even show the console. That's like the most fundamental thing. I mean, think back to like the Nintendo Power days, and I have the Nintendo Power where they sneak peek the Super Nintendo, and I can't tell you how many weeks, months I looked at that issue and just looked at that Super Nintendo, just the console itself, and imagined it, And it's like we're getting to the point where they don't even show the consoles anymore.
So what would you think, Chance, if I was selling you a car and I said it has an engine in it, it has a CD player, it has wiring, it has this, but I don't tell you the exact specs of it. Would you buy the vehicle?
Probably not, but I really wouldn't know what any of that meant anyway.
Yeah.
But I would show you that it drives fast, so maybe you'd still buy it. I don't know.
But I will say this, and this will be my final thought on it. The controller does really excite me because it shows that Sony is starting to rethink things a little bit. I think anyway, because look at that DualShock. I mean, it's been unchanged since 1995 for the most part. And while this isn't a radical redesign, when you start looking at like how the L1 and L2, how different they are, and you look at the grips and see how they change those, and the D-pad, how different it is, and then with the touchscreen interface, I think Sony is finally learning the lesson that just having this supercar of a system with all these high-end specs like the PS3 is not going to win you the war. Hell, the Wii won the last generation with number sold, and that thing is basically a GameCube with a little bit more power to it. So I think it's maybe Sony changing their strategy just a little bit. That gives me some hope for the PS4. Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Steven,
I was just thinking that Steven was going to say something.
Oh, so Steven, you still there?
I was sorry. I put my mic on mute so I could type and you could hear my typing, and then I forgot to take it off mute. Anyways, my thought, because I've noticed in some of our podcasts when I'm typing, you'll hear it in the clickety clacks.
Yeah.
But because I was trying to look up the correct terminology, if it was convex or conflex, where the thumbsticks were on the 360 and the PS4.
Yeah.
And because most of the world's hands is designed, your hands are like a 360 controller. And I think that's convex, maybe. That's why I was.
Convex is like the outside of a contact lens. Concave is where they're.
I don't know the correct terminology, but anyways, it looks like they're going for more of a 360 feel where they put the thumbsticks on this one, which is, I mean, if you hold your hands out, you see your thumbs are pointing toward your fingers. I mean, that's the way your hand should be, not down, pressed more to your wrist. But that's why I always felt the 360 controller was fine. I mean, unless you're used to a DualShock, which most of us have been using all our lives and just grown accustomed to it. But as soon as I put that 360 controller in my hands, it was just like perfection in my hands controller. But as far as the conference, I just think, like Dustin said, it seemed like it was geared toward developers, and it was. And I watched all of it, which was not exciting because they did have periods there where they said we're gonna. And what is that noise?
Best not to ask that question. I don't know. Not on my end. Continue.
But the thing that it was just weird. They're like, we got developers here who are going to talk about what games could look like, but we won't show you what they're making. They had a stretch of about 20 minutes where they just had guys there talking, not showing anything, but this is what we'll be able to do, but not showing it. And all the games they showed, I don't know if that's the real graphics we're going to get or not. I think it's all was pre-rendered to me. I don't know if it was actually in game or not.
Well,
So
when I saw that deep well, what was it? Basically, the
the
Capcom's game.
Capcom game, yeah.
Yeah. It looked like there was a little bit of a HUD on the screen, like down below in the bottom left side of the screen, like a
Yeah.
weapon selection thing. So that made me want to believe that those were in-game graphics. But
That made me want to think that was like an on rails game or something, so they might be able to do something more like that. But yeah.
yeah. But anyway,
But it just the whole feel it was kind of a snooze fest, I guess, for us as just gamers wanting to see the games, know the price, know the look of the console. Because I know that might not be important what it looks like, but I don't know. We kind of like to see the sleekness and sexiness of these consoles, you know. And when they showed the first PS3, I thought it looked awesome. Then the Slim looked even better. And so, but it's kind of nice to know what these things are going to look like. But I don't know. I didn't take too much away from it. Knew it was going to be a powerhouse of a console for next gen, but I just wish they would have, I don't know, just showed more games and just not made it so boring. Like I said, probably was a developer conference more than likely, and maybe at E3 you'll get to see a little bit more. So you didn't miss out on much chance. It wasn't
Well,
too
I
much
feel like
there.
I've got just as much out of it, hearing everybody's reaction to it as opposed to actually watching it. So,
yeah, just
you know,
listen to people's reaction and go look at the pictures of the controller, and you
yeah, and
got it.
seeing the controller to me looks awesome. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll get it, right away or not, but I probably will upgrade eventually. But I'm interested to see what now Xbox is going to do. Like if they try and rush and release it or announce it, close to the same time as the PS4, or if they try just sit back and try to make it as good as they want to, before putting it out, so it is truly you know possibly a better system. Me being the Xbox fanboy that I am, obviously I hope that it's just as good, or better than the PS4. But if everything that you guys hope that you mentioned comes out of the PS4, then if that's any indicator to the way that the new Xbox is going to be, then that should be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, Dustin, because from in the beginning and stuff of what we saw, do you feel like Sony may be aiming more of a social networking type of console to always stay connected? Because they had a lot of things to want to make you feel like,
Yeah.
hey, you can share this with your friends can watch you, your friends can play the game for you. Don't buy games, just let your friends do it for you. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just seems they want you to always be connected, to be able to share. And I know that I don't own a Wii U, but doesn't Wii U have the Miiverse or Wii U verse or whatever? And I thought that was a good concept that people were raving about. It was like, here, people can post in message boards about games, but I don't know if Sony's pushing it further and taking it too far, or they're going to lose focus on games and be too worried about the social thing. Or what did you take from that?
This is where I start feeling like an old man, because I think I said to you while we were watching it, you know, there's the whole thing about messaging your friends while you're playing a game to get help playing a game. And I was like, well, if I'm going to message my friends, I'm going to pick up my phone and text them. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like getting on my, using a
Yeah.
keyboard on my PlayStation to message them. That's just, I don't know. It just seems really stupid to me. But then again, you're talking to the person way back in the day when phones didn't have cameras, and they started having cameras, and I was like, why do you need a camera in your phone for? So,
Hmm.
um, but it does seem like they're going to a much more social route. Now, I think that this next generation. I mean, I've said before that I think the next generation might be the last.
Yeah.
We'll still see. But this next generation is going to redesign. I mean, make us rethink what console gaming is, because it is going to be an always connected system. And built right into the controller is a button where you could hit the share button and it records your gameplay, and then you can edit your gameplay and send it to your friends. It's just, it's kind of mind blowing in a way. But I don't think this is what I don't think. I don't think Sony is going to go social gaming like iOS is. I think it's just going to be kind of more of the same console wise. You just have better options of sharing your gameplay experience with your friends.
Yeah, and you know what seemed weird was the PlayStation, their new UI HUD kind of looked pretty similar to an Xbox One, and
Yeah.
their whole sharing thing. I really thought maybe they were going to steer more to being more of the hardcore system for not worrying too much about that stuff. And I'm really expecting Xbox to be all out, and they're going to be all about sharing and social network and everything too. I can always guarantee that's going to happen, and they're probably going to want to put Connect and everything in every package. So, but I was kind of shocked for Sony saying it seems like they're really digging into this social thing and kind of bouncing off some stuff that Microsoft was already doing.
Well, I
But
mean, Xbox Live is. I mean, look at how successful Xbox Live is. There's no question that Sony would try to take some of the pages out of that book.
and here's the other thing with this console chance. It's going to it's going to be set up to where it knows the games you like to play, and they said it'll actually start like downloading games, pre-downloading games for you that they'll know you'll like. So when you go to buy them, which they think you're going to do, that it's going to already be there for you to play, and you didn't know it, but it installed itself on there.
Oh,
And they
well,
also, yeah,
that's very Skynet like.
Yeah.
I know exactly. And they also said, if the world's going to digital, which it seems like Sony's looks like they're trying to do a big push for digital. I heard it's
Yeah.
going to have disc-based games still, but I mean they're prepared because they're saying, if you want a game, you hit buy it and you can start playing it, and it's going to be downloading while you're playing. So, and there's
Yeah.
going to be no loading and stuff. But
Didn't they say something about streaming games as well? It's going to be able
yeah,
to stream games?
yeah, that was part of that. Well, I know they said you could stream games as far as like if I'm playing it, I can stream it to you so you can watch me like Twitch
Oh.
TV.
Okay.
I don't know of like an on live type streaming if that's what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be like Skynet PS4. That's what it's gonna be.
It just starts hacking your other systems and shutting them down.
Yes. You're gonna want to turn it off, and it's gonna tell you no. You want to stay on and play. Play till your eyes bleed.
It'll have Hal's voice from 2001. I'm sorry.
That's
That'd be
funny.
great. But yeah, like you're saying, Chance, it will be interesting to see how Xbox will counter this thing. If they'll try to put together a conference of their own, if they'll try to match the same model, make it more developer paced, or try to just go full on and be like, here's the games, let's change it, let's do a complete 360, no pun there, and let's show them the gamers that we care about them. I want to show them some games.
Well, I have a feeling that they will, just because to me that seems like what the Xbox has been about. At the beginning, especially with the original Xbox. I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining that, but I just always felt like it was more of a game-oriented system than the PS3 was. Although I can't say that I love the Kinect. So if they do decide to do a lot with that, I'm kind of gonna be not necessarily upset, but maybe turned off by it. It's like because if I wanted to do that kind of stuff, I would probably just go with the Wii U or something like that. I probably wouldn't want to mess with the Xbox, the Kinect thing. But all I got to ask you guys is one question about the PS4. Does it have blast processing?
They actually made reference to blast processing.
Did they really?
Yeah. Because they talk about how the guy that's developing the hardware for the console is like a veteran way back to the 7800, Is that right?
He's been around since that long. Yeah,
And he worked. I think he worked on the Sega Genesis, and he said,
he
you know,
did.
which he was kind of a weird guy anyway. Today's consoles doesn't have blast processing, and you
Oh.
could tell it was just a line that was supposed to get like a reaction from the crowd, and it
Yeah.
just flopped.
Well, most of them probably didn't understand it.
What's
They-
blast processing?
What the hell is that?
That sounds like some kind of buzzword.
Well, it was funny because he was up there talking like this kind of soft tone, like he was trying to nurture the crowd into buying to what he's saying.
Oh, but there
Years.
It's kind of funny, but go ahead, Dustin.
Well, I was going to say there's just two other things that I wanted to talk about from that conference I just remembered. One is that they talked about how this system as opposed to the PS3 is going to be much easier to develop games for. In
Yeah.
that like PS3 tried to reinvent the fucking wheel, and that's why most PS3 games suck compared to their 360 counterparts, unless they're initially developed for the system, like Final Fantasy 13 and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I heard
So that-
developers are actually like excited about how much easier it is to develop for it. So yeah, that's a plus side for them.
And then another thing to sort of counter the Wii U's controller. If you look at the PS4 controller, it's basically a standard DualShock with a touchpad on it. Nowhere near as sophisticated as like the Wii U with its gamepad. Well, this thing is basically going to do the same thing that the Wii U's gamepad does, but only with your PlayStation Vita. So there you go, Steven. You know.
Yes, a purpose.
Yes. Aside from E's Celceta coming out in the fall, there's another reason to have Vita, finally.
I hear really great things about Persona 4 too.
Yeah.
Like that is making me want to buy a Vita. I probably won't yet. But
I'm probably going to buy the Vita sometime here soon, and that's probably how I'm going to play Persona 4. Even though I have the PS2 version, I'll probably get that.
Yeah, I almost bought that today. GameStop had it, but it was still like $26.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend that much money. Persona 4 for the PS2.
Okay.
I saw it today at GameStop, and I almost bought it, but I didn't feel like spending $26 on it, so I didn't. Hopefully I can find a used copy somewhere for cheaper, but I'm not holding my breath. But anyway, so Persona 4 Golden looks like another game that I would consider, for Vita. And, and I kind of thought that when the Vita came out, they were talking like it was supposed to do that with the PS3. Like it was supposed to do that kind of thing, like gamepad. Like you could buy certain games that you could play on both, at the same time.
Well,
go ahead, Steve. I was gonna say there are some you can do that with, and you can actually remote play with some of the games on there now. And there are some that are connected, like the PlayStation All Stars Battle Royal, the MLB game. Those are off the top of my head. But I think they probably realize, you know what, we're going into a new console generation here pretty soon, so let's just focus on the PS4 and get that working correctly instead of trying to retweak things for this PS3. So maybe that's what they were thinking. What do you think, Doesn't?
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that because if being a father and having a kid running around, it'll be much easier to just like have my PS3 running right there and have my handheld in my hand, being able to play. So I'm not trying to see. He doesn't need to see me blowing people's heads off yet on the TV. So when I get to the games I've been playing recently, it was funny because it made me actually go to another game because I was out there playing. And I was just like, you know what, maybe he shouldn't watch me play Condemned Criminal Origins, smashing people's faces. And so I'll put in Castlevania instead in Slice of Demons, but. I find just handheld gaming so more convenient these days, just with the lifestyle I have to live right now. But I still get in my console gaming, which chance if he doesn't see me on Halo every night, he's like, man, no Halo. So
yeah,
but I'm still on console. But yeah, I'm really excited about the remote play, and I think in Vita, I know it sounds like I might be bashing every console, but it's an awesome handheld because when you see a game on it, that's a wonderful game. It is gorgeous. It feels nice in your hand. It's a nice handheld. I just want a couple more games for it. That's all I'm asking, is a couple more. Plus, I got it for free, so I shouldn't be complaining anyway. I can never complain. But I'm going to be so jealous if East comes out and they have this special console that he can get. He's going to get this nice East-based system probably.
They're not going to do an East. No, because it's X-Seat's bringing it over. They're not going to do an East console. They're
Well, what
they
is
only
this?
they only do those for like well they don't do it for first party. Never mind. There was a Kingdom Hearts because I got the Kingdom Hearts bundle.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't. The Vita isn't region locked, is it? Because I remember Pete Doris saying he
No.
bought one. So I mean, if Japan ever, well, they already released it over there, so never
Yeah.
mind. So you can buy your console from over there, so you have a special one. But whatever. Anyway, since I talked
But
about a game I've been playing, did y'all
yeah.
want to just talk about that or what?
Sure.
And who wants? I guess I'll go ahead and start since I already started rambling about mine.
Okay.
Okay, like I said, I pretty much 2 or 3 nights out the week, I can get in here and get my console, but I'll have people who always want to play Halo 4, so I'll get on there. I mean, I have a good time playing Halo 4 online all the time. Like Chance, he's been able to play with me and my buddies. If we're not winning, we're at least having a good time
Yeah,
losing.
definitely.
We at least have fun while we're playing. So, I mean, if anyone wants to play Halo 4, just send me a message. I'll send you my tag so we can play online because we have a lot of fun and we just try to goof off and have a good time. And we do occasionally win. So, there you go. But when I'm not playing that, and when I can actually play a game, I played Castlevania Lords of Shadows, which that was a review I just put up on my channel. Which I think Chance, when you saw me playing it, that's when he was like, "Whoa, you're not playing Halo? What's going
Yeah,
on?"
I was kind of shocked actually. You logged into Xbox Live and it didn't say Halo beside your name. I was a little scared actually. I was like, well, okay,
I
what's going
imagined
on here?
a little tear rolling down Chance's cheek. No.
Yeah, it was a little
Well,
scary. Although I haven't played since the last time I played with you guys. I don't know. I got kind of haloed out.
Yeah, I've been seeing you on Black Ops, man. I was like, what in the
Yeah.
world? Black Ops, no. But most of the time I only log on online when I'm playing Halo, or I'll just keep it offline because I got to turn my phone on, then turn the console on. So I'm not. That's too many. That's an extra step. I don't want to take one more step. That's why they put peanut butter in the jelly now, so you don't got to do that extra step. But anyways, which by the way, that's disgusting. Don't ever buy that peanut butter and jelly mix. But when I'm not playing that, I was playing Castlevania Lord of Shadow. I actually really enjoyed it for just an action hack and slash beat 'em up game. It was so funny because I was reading Ultimate Floyd's comment on my review, and he just said he hated the game, and it was like we saw everything opposite, which is I think is great. That's what I love about the community here and YouTube and just being able to be like someone's raving about a game, but another person can hate it. And that's what's so awesome, just hearing other people's points of views, because he didn't like the puzzles. He thought the combat was clunky, and I thought it was smooth, and the puzzles were easy. So it was just really cool just seeing opposite. But I thought it was really fun, and I don't think it connects with any Castlevania games earlier in the line, like the NES or SNES. But I haven't beaten any of the NES ones, and the only one I have is Bloodlines, and I think that's way out there with the story anyway, not even connected to the originals. I'm not sure. But I really enjoyed it, and it looks like the sequel is going to be awesome. I don't know if anyone saw the trailer for that, but it looks incredible. But if you're into God of War, and I said in the video, I personally like it better than God of War and Chance, since, well, you're the lucky owner of a new item. I won't say yet, but even though it'll give it away, you get to play God of War 3 now to see what that's even all about, if you want to even try it. But when I beat that, I've also been working on Dead Space 3, which I hadn't planned on getting yet. I was gonna wait until it got a price drop because I knew it was going to. But a buddy talked me into it, and he wanted to, and which I shouldn't have been able to have to be talked into Dead Space 3 because that's been one of my favorite series of this gen. But I just knew it was gonna have a price drop, and what do you know? Like 2 days ago, they dropped it down to $40, and I bought it like a week and a half ago. So fantastic. I couldn't just wait to buy it for $20 cheaper. But been playing through co-op with my buddy, and it is a little different from previous Dead Space games. It's not as it feels a little bit faster because I feel like I have a little bit more enemies coming at me. And it's also different playing with a co-op partner. I found when I'm playing by myself, I focus more on the smaller things. Like if anyone in a single player game, if you pick up a text log, maybe you're the type of person who wants to read it. I am the type of person, if I'm in a universe I really enjoy, I want to sit down and read that text log or listen to the audio log. When I'm playing through with a co-op partner, it feels a little bit more rushed, like we're just going through the game, not really like indulging ourselves in the environment like I would, if that makes any sense at all, in a single player game. But the enemies on co-op I think they did a good job in designing it because they did make them tougher and they did design the game sections around like, hey, we're going to fix this perfect if you have a co-op partner than as you would if you were in single player. And we've been having a good time with it. So when we finish that up, I'll be sure we're going to do a little mini podcast episode on the podcast channel going all through the game. So look out for that. And other than that, I've just been working on my 2 more backlog games for the year. The first one being Dead Space Extraction, the shooter for the Wii. Since I got the Grandmammy's Wii hooked up in here, I've been going through some of the chapters on that game, and it's actually a really fun light shooter game. I know you just got a Wii not too long ago, Chance. Have you played any shooters on it yet? Some light gun games?
I haven't at all. I actually only own. Well, I have Call of Duty Black Ops, and I played it briefly, but I plugged in the Pro controller to do that, so I didn't have to mess with the nunchuck. So
well, these are on rails ones, so it's a little bit different. But do you have any on rails ones, Dustin? I think you got Sin and Punishment, right? But I'm not sure if that's the same thing or.
Sin and Punishment's not really the same type of thing, because yours is more like a light gun shooter, right?
Yeah, it pretty much is.
I have Sin and Punishment's a little bit different, but I have the House of the Deads.
Yes, it's in the class. It's got a little bit more than those do. Those are more old school light gun shooters. This Dead Space one actually mixes a lot in it, and it's awesome. It feels like it fits right into the universe because you have the different weapons from the games, and you can actually level the weapons up and add things to them. You can suck up health packs with kinesis. You also have stasis like you do in the games. And for the first couple of chapters, it was actually really fun, and I'm enjoying it. And it's also a co-op game, and that's one I'm wishing I like. That's one that you'd like to have a co-op partner with, just wailing out on these enemies at the light gun games with you. But I've been trying to knock that one out. And one of my, man, I can already tell this last game here is going to be one of my favorite RPGs of all time. And that is, I've been playing Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans on the DS by Monolith Soft, which I had no idea that's who made it. And this game, Dustin, I don't know, were you into Dragon Ball Z or anything?
I was
growing up
majorly in the Dragon Ball.
You would love this RPG because it's old school style all the way.
Yeah.
But it's got that Monolith Soft just touch to it that just makes it that much better.
Did you ever play the ones? Did you ever play the ones on the Game Boy Advance?
It is nothing like those.
Okay.
But listen, I know those were they're viewed upon like bad games, but when that game first came out for the GBA, I went bat nut crazy over it.
Oh, I did too.
Which one?
The Legacy of Goku.
Yeah, that's the one I have. I actually love that game.
Yeah.
I played the second one. I didn't care for the second one as much, but I liked the first one a lot.
I remember I couldn't wait till the end to see him turn Super Saiyan, and then it actually wasn't much of a transformation.
Oh no, it was actually fairly freaking lame, actually.
Yeah.
But I played it I replayed the end so many times just so I could see him transform again.
That's like my favorite episode of the show, I think. Was that first time he turned Super Saiyan. It's like, oh.
Did you ever watch the movies?
Did, yes.
When he went Super Saiyan in the movies, and it was really fucking lame because his hair didn't even change color.
Which movie?
What was it? Was like was it Tree of Life?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
It was one of the first ones, wasn't it?
It was like one of the first 3.
It's been so long, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in forever now. But this game.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So I was just gonna say real quick. This game goes through since the 23rd World Tournament starts there, and it goes up until I believe your battle with Nappa and Vegeta. That's what I'm guessing it goes through. And I mean, you kind of have to be familiar with the universe and the storyline of the shows because it's putting everything in there really fast. So I'm able to keep up with what's actually happening. But if you're a first-time person who's never heard of Dragon Ball Z, you might get kind of lost in all the characters and everything that's going on. But for someone who's a fan of the show, it is an excellent RPG. Like I was telling you, Dustin, it's top-down, overworld map kind of view style. You go into an area, walk around like in a Final Fantasy game. You get triggered into a random battle. But what's cool in this game, excuse me, is you have your attack, you have your defend, and you have your key moves that you can do. But then you have a rage meter that you can build up to where you can do chain attacks together and unlock different combos to do stuff together. You can level up your Kamehameha like to certain levels with some AP points that you get, and you'll unlock different attacks Like, I'm guessing I'll be able to get Kaioken sooner or later. And it just seems so awesome to be able to pull these moves off. And the animations when you do them are just awesome. They just look great on the DS. And I'm just loving everything about it. And it also has an active defense system. So instead of hitting defend every time, you have 3 characters per party. One's gonna defense will be mapped to X, one to Y, and one to B, I believe it is. And there's going to be a signal that lets you know what enemy is going to be attacked. And if you hit the right button at the right time, it'll go into defense mode and actually just auto block or do a defense move or cut some of the damage off for you. And I thought that's really cool, like putting that in the game. That way you still have a way to defend yourself, even if you want to attack. So, but it gets challenging when you got 3 characters on there and you got 5 enemies attacking you pretty fast. And the boss battles kind of they attack faster, so you got to react faster. But Dustin, you would love this game.
Yeah, well, I just looked it up, and it must be kind of a rare game because on Amazon it's going for $89.94 brand new and $39.53 used.
It is tough. It is tough to find. I was going to say the day I found it last year, I had just found out about it, and I was looking it up because I wanted to get. They have Dragon Ball Origins. I wanted to get that too.
Yeah.
And my GameStop had a copy in. And I think when I bought it from GameStop, it was $24.99 used. And I was so excited, but at the same time, I was like, crap, it's not going to have a case or anything there. Because that's when the time they were like shelving out the cases. And I went in there, and there it was, sitting on a shelf in the case. And I snatched it up quick and just paid for it. I thought it wasn't going to be behind the counter. I was like, there's no way it's going to be in here. Sure enough, it was in there, and it is such a great game. If you can't find one, when I'm done with it, I'll just mail it out to you so you can play it, because I know you'd love it just because the type of RPG it is. It's just a great one.
Okay.
So
I might go look, because sometimes these quote-unquote rare games, you can find them at GameStop if you...
Especially in the area. Like, my area, no one plays RPGs here. So, I mean, if you're in an area where people are just not into the same stuff, there's a good chance you could still put it in there.
It's kind of the same thing here, too.
So, and anyone out there, be on the look for Dustin. Look for Dragon Ball Z 4.
Okay.
I've done it for other YouTubers, actually. I put stuff out there. I put out there, my GameStop had like 10 Game Boy Advance players, and I said, hey, guys, just message me if you want one. I had a couple people message me, and I went out there and got it for them and mailed it out to them. So, yeah. I'm totally down for helping people out, too. So, but that's all I've been playing, and yeah, loving it. How about we go on to Chance? What have you been playing, man?
Too much. Dragon Ball Z, just real quick, Dragon Ball Z is actually one of my favorites. And I've played the GBA games, like I said, the Legacy of Goku, both of them. And I really like the fighting games, the Budokai games.
One of those is hard to find right now, I think, too. Right? Like Tenkaichi 3 or something?
Yeah, I don't have that
one. One of those is tough to get, yeah.
I have the first 2 Tenkaichis, and I have the second and third Budokais. And so I really like those, too. So, yeah, Dragon Ball Z is really awesome. And that game you were describing sounds pretty cool. And I've actually heard somebody else talk about it, and I forgot about it. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Well, since we're on Dragon Ball Z, we're stopping now. Because you said your favorite moment was probably when he went Super Saiyan for the first time.
Yeah, I loved that moment. That was so amazing.
What about you, Dustin? Do you have a memorable moment from the Dragon Ball Z days?
Well, my thing, my most memorable moment actually comes from Dragon Ball GT when they go Super Saiyan 4.
I didn't watch that series yet, GT. I stopped with Z, so.
And I was like, holy shit, Super Saiyan level 4 looks friggin' badass. Like, I mean, some people say it looks really stupid, but I think it looks really killer.
Because that's like the tail and everything back, right?
Huh?
That's when you get your tail and everything back, right? Or
basically, you turn kind of into... It's kind of... I don't remember what the name of the form when they turn into the big gorilla.
Oh yeah, when
the moon's out. I can't. But it's like a mix between that and a normal Super Saiyan. Just look it up sometime. Or there's this fan created thing called Dragon Ball AF, which they had Super Saiyan level 5 where their hair goes all white.
Yeah.
That was bad. I mean, it's not real, but that's badass. But probably my favorite thing, it involves Vegeta, and I can't, because Vegeta was my favorite character.
Yes, finally. Somebody who's with me.
He's the only one that has any growth in the entire series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shit. There's something.
That was while you're thinking, that was the debate on the school bus with me and my friends and everything. Everyone was such a Goku and
Oh,
Gohan lover, and I was a lone Vegeta supporter, and I was so sick. He never got his due, man, to take down a supervillain. That always pissed me off that he never got to like finish off somebody. Who cares about an android? I mean, unless it happens in GT, it was always Goku or someone else getting the glory, and
oh,
it always pissed me off.
he goes Super Saiyan 4 in GT as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really liked. I think my favorite thing was during the Majin saga when you had Majin Vegeta. For some reason I really liked because it was kind of like him going back to the evil again for a little bit.
Oh, well, I have two favorite moments, and one I was just ranting on Gohan, but when he went level 2, I'm guessing against Cell for the first time, when Android 19's head got stepped on, and he did that I feel it slipping and just went off,
Hmm.
and then killed all the mini cells. I thought that whole thing was epic when he transformed, and people were like, wow. And then when he killed Cell, I thought that was cool because Vegeta, without him, he wouldn't have beat him
Yeah.
when he hit him with his fireball. But also when it was a moment, like you said, during the Majin saga when Vegeta, when he sacrificed himself,
Yeah.
trying to kill Kid Buu, that whole scene with his son giving him a hug, and I thought that was just an awesome moment right there when that happened. So those would have to be my two top ones. That one was very touching. So. But yes, now that Dragon Ball Z, I'm sorry, Chance. Just I love
No,
that show.
it's, no,
It
I
brings
could,
back
I,
memories,
I
man.
could
Good
have a whole
memories.
podcast conversation on Dragon Ball Z. That would be okay. I love Dragon Ball Z, and one of my favorite characters, my favorite villains actually, is not even wasn't even in the series. It's Frieza's brother Cooler.
Yeah.
Like I love both of those movies, Cooler's Revenge and The Return of Cooler.
Oh
Like
yeah.
those are amazing. I think I don't know. He's one of my favorites, and so if you haven't watched those, go check those out because they're kind of cool. They're pretty short. They're like 45 minutes, an hour long, something like that.
See, I always thought the history ones were the best, like the history of Bardock and the history of Trunks.
Yeah.
Those out of the movies, those were the best. I thought.
I haven't watched all of them. I watched most of the Broly one of the
Hmm.
Broly ones, and I didn't care for it. I was
Yeah.
I was kind of annoyed. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Um, I mean, he looks awesome, but yeah, I just didn't care for it as much. And I've seen another movie too, and I can't remember the villain's name, but he's like a dark red color.
Oh, I know.
And they takes him
I
into
know what you're
some
talking
like
about.
parallel dimension,
He
and
can
it's
like
like
break
really,
up into little blocks and stuff. I think I know what you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
It's
when he
it's a really
teleports.
strange movie, and he doesn't. I don't think he says anything. I don't think he talks. So I thought he was kind of a cool one too that they didn't actually incorporate into the series. Um, I don't know why, but my favorite season, I guess, of Dragon Ball Z is probably the Frieza saga. I don't know why. I just really had it. I don't know. I think that's kind of that's the first of it that I actually saw at length was that saga because I didn't actually watch it when I was a kid. I was in high school when I started watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I've got Dragon Ball Z action figures and
I have a ton of those.
all that stuff that I bought when I was in high school. Yeah, I was like 17 years old,
I'm so
buying this stuff.
jealous.
I was like,
I want to get
uh,
the DVDs, but I heard they have the Kai ones, but there's voices changed, and so I'm
yeah,
trying to find the
exactly.
older ones.
I do not like that they changed the voices now that it's on again, and it's on like Nickelodeon too. Like it's on some channel that it's never been on before. So I don't know. I'm a Funimation kind of guy.
But you know who got me into that? It was I have a sister who's 2 years younger than me, and she was actually watching it. I'd make fun of her, like, "What are you doing watching this crap?" And then I actually sat down and watched it, and yeah, me and my sister would sit down there, and that'd be our thing every evening, watching 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
DBZ.
So
All right,
okay, you
I'll stop
continue with your
talking.
games now.
I'll stop talking about
Back
Dragon Ball
on
Z.
track.
Yeah, sorry there. We had a derailment. We'll start with retro, I guess. I've been playing
Wizards and
Castlevania.
Warriors.
No, well that too actually. I just played it the other day. Uh, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. I just bought it, or I just traded for it actually, not too long ago. And this is my first Castlevania game. I've never played any of the newer gen or the middle of the road, like Symphony of Night kind of stuff. Never played any of that. And I played a ROM of the first one a little bit, and I could tell that I would like the series. And so I just decided to go after them a little bit. And someone had this one available on Atari Age, so I snatched it up. And I don't know, I enjoy it. It's really tough though, and there's certain aspects about the game, like I you can't talk too much about an NES game. They did what they had. They did what they did. They did what they had to do. But I don't know. Like you can't jump onto the stairs. That bugs me. It's because I keep jumping and falling down a screen and dying because of it. So it's a pretty tough game. But I knew that going into it, so I'm enjoying it anyway. For the N64, believe it or not, I actually started up the N64 the other day. I played Mace: The Dark Age. It's a pretty cool fighting game for the series, the system. I don't know if it's on anything. I don't know if it's on PlayStation or not. It's really interesting. It's kind of got a like a medieval kind of, I don't know, demon kind of approach to it. It's a lot like Mortal Kombat, but it's a pretty good fighting game. I've been on a fighting game kick actually, which is weird for me. Um, I played. Sorry, I'm moving kind of quickly. Played
That's fine.
for the Atari Jaguar. Just recently came across several Jaguar games, and been playing Wolfenstein 3D for the Jaguar. And I must say, it's actually probably my favorite port of the game for any console, because I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. They updated the graphics and the sounds to for the system, for the Jaguar, especially for the Jaguar. It's not on anything else with these graphics and music and sounds and stuff, and it's just really enjoyable. And yeah, and I like Jaguar games too, so that's probably part of it.
Well, if I could
Um,
cut you off real quick,
yeah,
did you play
absolutely.
the new 360 Wolfenstein? I think it's PS3 too. I can't remember. Did you
We'll
try
get
that
there.
out yet?
We'll get there.
Okay,
Mm,
good, because I'm
uh,
wondering what your thoughts were on.
we'll get there.
Okay.
I played Raiden, or Raiden, however you want to say it, for the Atari Jaguar. Really awesome port of the game. I really like the Raiden games, and I don't have too many. I have Raiden Trad for the Genesis, which is actually a really cool port. It's actually a lot harder than the Jaguar version or any of the other versions I've played. And it's the maps are actually bigger. The levels are longer, which I thought was strange.
And those are
And
all
then
vertical shooters, right?
Yes, and that's
Or
actually my preferred method. I really like vertical shooters better, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's just because we had a couple of vertical shooters on my old DOS computer when I was growing up that I played constantly. So I think it's just that I got so used to playing those that the first time I played an actual horizontal shooter, I was actually kind of put off by it. I was like, wow, this is really hard, to go
Mhm.
from left to right instead of up. I don't know. I just thought it was strange, and
and I heard
and it comes from probably too my love for shooters for the Atari 2600, and most of those that I played were vertical shooters, also like Galaga and Galaxian and Phoenix and Demon Attack and stuff like that. Those were vertical shooters also, so that's probably partially why too.
I think you just said too, Dustin. You're more of a vertical too, and one of your was that in your Gems
yeah.
video? So, and Raiden was one of your favorites too, or is your
Uh,
favorite?
Raiden Fighters Aces, which is
Yeah, I need
a
to find that.
Yeah,
compilation of 3 games. Yeah.
awesome.
I really need to find that one actually, and
Yeah.
Raiden 4 also. I hear it's pretty
Uh,
amazing as well.
Raiden 4 is good, but I prefer the Raiden Fighters Aces.
Yeah, and I think that that's pretty widespread too, and it helps that too that it's actually 3 games,
Yeah.
like you said. It's the first 2 Fighters Aces, and then the whatever the third one was called, like it
Yeah.
had some
Like
different
I'm
name.
not an achievement person at all, but that game right there, Raiden Fighters Aces, makes me. I mean, I definitely try to go for the achievements in that.
Yeah, I really want that game. That game looks amazing. But my GameStop, actually, it's pretty hard to find any shooters for the newer consoles. You know,
I got like 6 copies down at this one on the cheap rack for like 6.99.
really,
Oh
Fighters
yeah,
Aces.
yeah. That the compilation disc one. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm here for you, brother. I got you. Don't
we
worry.
might be talking after the
Okay.
podcast. But yeah, and actually, I pulled all the games that I've been playing off the shelf so I could actually look at them while I'm talking about it. But it just reminded me talking about shooters. I actually forgot one, two actually, two horizontal shooters that I did play and I do enjoy. The very first Gradius or Gradius, however you say it, for the NES, and Gradius 3 for the Super Nintendo. I've been playing those a lot too, and only because I figured out you could use the Konami code on both of them. So I've been playing those a little bit, and I just picked up a NES Max controller, and I've been using it a little bit to play shooters and stuff. But it makes it a little bit harder if you're used to the original NES controller, because of the direct D-pad is like a slider thing, and you really have to press hard on it, and it's kind of awkward to use. So yes, it has the turbo button, so you're able to just hold down the fire button, and it's kind of cool, but it's harder to control. So it's actually easier to just use the regular one and wear out your thumb. So yeah, that's two that I forgot. And moving on, Dreamcast game I've been playing, which is weird because I rarely play my Dreamcast, is about another fighting game, Marvel vs. Capcom, the first one. I decided that I would actually try to put it in and try to make it a ways and try to see how far I could get. And I got stuck on the fourth round, and it was against Venom and Hulk. I don't know if that's always who is on round four for everybody or for me or whatever. But I tell you what, I still stand by with that game. Have either of you guys played that game,
It's been a while, but yeah, I played it.
Dustin?
I can't remember if I have or not.
Okay, well, if you do, I swear Venom is the best character in that game to use. For some reason, his attacks are just outrageously good, and his defense is really good too, and he is really tough to beat for me. And probably people are going to comment on this video like, "Oh, you pussy, you can't beat Venom in Marvel vs. Capcom," but I don't, for me, it's just like I'm not very good at fighting games, period. But I enjoy them, and yeah, I've tried, probably 10 times with different characters, switching out people, and it's because it's a 2-on-2 thing.
I remember him in he was in Marvel vs. Street Fighter, and I didn't really like him in there. And most of the time they do keep their same move sets between those games.
Really?
But I just didn't play with him as much. Maybe I was always playing a Spider-Man, so I didn't want to use Venom.
I pretty much all like stick with Venom actually, and War Machine. I think that's a good pair, but I also use Wolverine quite a bit because his attacks are pretty cool also. But
Oh yeah.
all I can say is this is no offense to Mega Man, because I think the Mega Man games are great, but do not ever pick that little bastard in Marvel vs. Capcom. He
That's
is
funny.
absolutely useless.
That's funny
But I
because
love Mega Man, so all
whenever
those
I
Mega Man lovers don't send me hate mail.
the only time I've ever played the Marvel vs. Capcom games where it was in the arcade, and I can't remember if it was 1, 2, or 3, or not 3, but 1 or 2. I don't remember which one it was. But I would always have Mega Man and War Machine because I thought it was so awesome that War Machine was in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'd always pick Mega Man because I loved Mega Man, and you're pretty much right.
Yeah, don't ever pick Mega Man because he sucks in this game. But I have the second one too, and the second one there's actually quite a few more characters, and I don't even know if Mega Man's in the second one. He probably is, but I can't remember right off the top of my head. And the thing about the third one that I liked was that it's actually 3-on-3, like so you can actually pick 3 characters, which I thought was pretty cool. And I always pick Colossus, Cable, and then the Egyptian guy that can like stretch out his arms and stuff. I can't remember his name. I think he's a Capcom guy.
Dhalsim.
Dhalsim.
He's from India.
No, no, not that. He's got like it looks like a sarcophagus.
Oh, he's the guy from Darkstalkers.
Yeah, maybe. And he has like
Man, all
his
those
arms
low
are like
tier characters,
springs.
chance.
Huh?
All those low tier characters. I watch the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 stuff all the time on
Uh,
Twitch TV. So
I'd
you
like to
never
play
see
that.
any of those guys you're talking about.
I'd like to play that one actually. It looks like fun, just because I enjoy the first two. Moving on here to my big stack of other disc-based games. Keeping it with the fighting games, I played a lot of Soul Calibur 2, having a ton of fun with that. I bought it for the original Xbox. I got it for pretty cheap too. I was at the pack rat, so it was $5, and I really like it. I like the Soul Calibur 2. Like there was an Xbox exclusive character, which is Spawn, and then for the GameCube,
It
it
was
was
Link,
Link from
baby.
Zelda, and I actually don't know if there was one on PS2.
Yeah,
If
it was a guy from
if
Tekken.
I was gonna say if there is, I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
So, but it's actually cool because it actually, I don't know. For me, it's like I still want to buy the other two versions because I want to see, how different that character is, and I kind of like the Soul Calibur. Well, what I've played of this Soul Calibur game. Because it's got some RPG elements in that you kind of level up and you can like change your weapons and things like that, and I like the story mode quite a bit. I think it's pretty cool, and you go into these little I guess they're caves of some kind, like mazes where you go into the next room, you have to win a battle and go into the next room, and there might be an item in there. So it's kind of cool. I really like the game. I don't know how far into it I am as far as the actual story mode, but I've played it for several hours, and it's pretty fun. I found that the character that I use the most, I think his name is Raphael, the very first upper left hand square. He's got like an old style fencing sort of style. I don't know. I just really he's got some good attacks. I started out with the character. I can't remember his name either, but he's got this big green orb in his chest, and his weapon is like a
Necrid.
maybe. Yeah, that sounds about right. I kind of like. He looks like back to GBZ. He looks like Piccolo kind of, but yeah, I found him to be kind of cool, but I ended up picking the Raphael to play through with. Um,
See, I
PlayStation.
guarantee, I
Go ahead.
guarantee, if you had the GameCube version, you'd do nothing but play as Link, because that's
Probably.
I can't pick anybody else other than Link. I don't know why that is.
Well, you're probably absolutely right, but I actually find Spawn to be kind of annoying. Like I don't know, he's kind of slow. I don't know. Maybe the character, maybe it's my imagination, but he uses a big an axe to start out with, and you can actually purchase more weapons and things. You probably know that you have it for the GameCube. I don't know if you know, Steven. But you can purchase weapons and switch upgrade, and different weapons have different things that they're good for. Some may block better. Things like that. And it's pretty cool. I like it. Um, Moving on, I feel like I'm talking really fast. Um, Raiden 3 for the PlayStation 2. Played through that and beat it, and I played through it on the easiest mode possible with the most amount of continues and the most amount of bombs. So it it was really easy because of that, but it was fun. I just like to shoot things, so I
If a
shoot
game
things
gives
and
me an option to get a bunch of continues, I always do it. Why
yeah, me
not?
too. I don't want to play the game to challenge me. I want to play it to beat it.
Exactly, yes.
So I did a video on that game with some gameplay footage. So check it out. Quake 3 Revolution. I love this port of this game. It's this virtually exactly the same as Quake 3 Arena for the Dreamcast, except you get to play it on a PlayStation 2 with the DualShock 2, and I like it a whole lot more than I like the Dreamcast controller. The Dreamcast controller would have been great with a second joystick. I will stand by that because seriously, the games that are on the system, at least the ones that I have, are fantastic, but they would all benefit from a second joystick. I really think that the Dreamcast would not have flopped like it did if it had just that addition. But yeah, it's great. It's Quake 3 Revolution. It's just a strictly multiplayer version of Quake. Um, you run around and
Does
shoot
that put
people.
you just on like an arena? Yeah, it's just an
Yeah,
arena type
it's
thing.
exactly the same exact thing as Halo or Call of Duty multiplayer. It is just that,
Yeah.
except you're able to play it solo. It does have AI that you can play against. It was, I think, one of the first games to really showcase that ability, to just multiplayer shooting. But
Was that first or was Unreal Tournament first? Because I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
how
I
Unreal
just
Tournament
I
was
just
done.
know that this
I
was
think
one of
Unreal Tournament was first.
Okay.
you're probably right. I've never played that one. This is just what's familiar to me. Um, but yeah, it's an amazing port. The one thing I can say, and it's the same thing that everyone else says about it, the loading screens suck, but they're not as bad as other games that I've played, but they are kind of annoying. Between every round, there's a loading screen where you have to wait a little bit, but to me it's worth it because I really like Quake 3 Arena for the Dreamcast, but I hate the controller for first person shooters. So it is kind of a turnoff for me, but this one I think is a lot better. Okay, for the original Xbox, one game that I just kind of touched on a little bit that I haven't played a whole lot of is Dead Island. I just picked it up recently in the same trade that I got Castlevania 3 from. I can tell it's going to be a pretty awesome game. I just kind of scratched the surface, played about an hour of it. I enjoy it. I like zombie games anyway, so this is, it fits in very well into my playing. But I could tell it's going to be a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. It's kind of a RPG zombie game. It reminds me a little bit of I've watched my brother-in-law play Far Cry 3 quite a bit, and he loves that game, and parts of it kind of remind me of that a little bit with like the scavenging and things like that.
And I would
Uh,
so play that game with you. It would take us forever to beat it because we'd
yeah,
just be goofing off doing stuff we shouldn't probably
I
be doing, and
just
it would
chasing
take forever to
zombies
beat.
everywhere.
Yes.
It wouldn't progress very fast. Yeah, and see, I see it pop up all the time. That like so and so is in the same area. Press A to play co-op or something like that. Press B to play co-op, and I'm kind of curious about the co-op play, but I don't know. I've got a buddy around here who has the game, so him and I might play it together a little bit and see. But he's already beaten it, but he's already
It's
said that
it's it's fun stuff. I enjoyed playing it co-op. It was
yeah,
fun.
it's pretty fun. Next up is a game you've already mentioned, Stephen, Wolfenstein for the 360. I am enjoying it for what it is. I can't say that I love it in the same way that I love the old Wolfenstein games, but it's interesting. I can't remember the name of the little thing that you could some kind of the device, the veil, whatever device it is that he has that gives you these
Gravity
mystical,
type. Yeah.
magical abilities. I think it's an interesting concept, and I kind of like it. I like the story, and the character BJ Blazkowicz is just a badass, But I knew that already, so it's fun. I'm playing. Several hours into it, 3 or 4 anyway. Um, I don't know how far I am into the game actually, story wise, but it's fun. I like it. It's a
I was
good.
gonna say 2 hours into it, I was done. I was like, I'm done
Really?
with this. I wasn't having that much fun with it. Yeah, it just
No,
didn't grab me. I
I'm
only
not
paid
having
$1
like.
for it though, so
Yeah, it was cheap for me too. I think I only
yeah.
spent 7 or 8 dollars on it at GameStop. It wasn't too bad, but I like it. It's fun enough for me, I guess. And I've
Mhm.
heard the similar story about the PlayStation 2 game. I think it's on the original Xbox, like Return to Castle Wolfenstein: Tides of War or something like that. I've heard a similar story where people just like, lame. So, but yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops. I've been playing that live quite a bit. I don't know why. It's just I don't know, just an easy game to throw in and just get on live and play. And it is what it is. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
explain it any much further than that. Like I said, though, I've been kind of haloed out, so I haven't been playing Halo as much. But one game that I threw in the other night and I played for a couple hours and I actually really really love it is Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. This game is pretty cool. It's a third-person shooter, but it's also got some hack and slash to it. Um, it's you've got a weapon, a melee weapon in one hand and a gun in the other, and you just pretty much just run around killing orcs and stuff. It's a pretty linear game, but it's all right with me. And lots of blood and lots of shooting. It's really pretty awesome game. And yeah, that's it.
Well, I got two recommendations for you. One's gonna be in my little gems video. I'm doing a tag with. I think you'd really love Red Faction Armageddon. I think you'd have a blast playing that. If you have you played it or not?
No, I haven't. I saw it today. I almost bought it.
You That is your type of game. Get that game. It is an amazing third-person shooter. And also, if you can find it pretty cheap now, since you're a fan of like the Wolfenstein and stuff, give Prey a look at one of the original like launch titles Windows of the 360. You'd probably like that. It's a pretty good game.
I forgot one. I need to add it to my games I've been playing list, just because I don't have a physical copy of it. To the Moon. I've been playing that quite a bit. I didn't finish it yet. I need to do it because I know
That's
It's a 4-hour game.
I know, but I haven't played it since like the second day I had it. I played it quite a bit right as soon as I got it, and I got like 2 hours into the game, and then I keep forgetting about it, like because it's on my computer, and I'm just so used to not playing games on my computer. I just need to. Yeah, I could finish it probably tonight, but I just haven't. But it's a fantastic game though, if you can call it a game. It's pretty much just like watching a movie. But I'm at a horseback riding area right now. I don't know how.
I think that was the toughest part in the game for me.
Yeah,
because I got kind of lost in that one.
I can't find the fifth memento or whatever, the fifth gem thing to fill in the meter so I can go to the next area. I'm chasing them around right now on the horse, and I can't figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do.
They gotta fall off. I know that, but unless
okay. Well,
that's
that's
already
probably
happened.
what I need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fantastic game. Love it. I've already gotten kind of choked up a couple of times, and I think it's probably just because everybody keeps talking about how sad it is and how choked up they get. So I'm thinking that already going into it, expecting it to be incredibly sad. So I get there, and then the music. Oh man, I have never been one to be like obsessed with game music. I really haven't. But I tell you what, the music in this game is fantastic. And I bought the version that came with the soundtrack. It was like $2 more or something like that, maybe $3. It was like $12.99, I think, to get the soundtrack with the game, and totally worth it. It's just wonderful.
Awesome. All I'm hearing is mouse click, mouse click, mouse click.
Oh yeah, I get nervous when I talk, and I sit here and I click things back and forth on my desktop.
I imagine he was sitting there trying to find the fourth gem.
I was like, is he playing the game right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, that's actually basically what it's like for me too. Is I just click the screen and move around, click the screen, click.
Now that Pete Dorr is done going through his games he's been playing, we'll move on to Dustin.
Hey, you asked, and I told you. I said I was playing a lot, and I probably left some off.
It's all good.
That's all right, because in comparison to Chance...
All right, Dustin, go ahead.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, in comparison to Chance's list, mine is incredibly short, because I have had some very crazy days at work. So, not a lot of gaming, because when I get home, I'm just sapped. I'm just done, But the one game I have been playing, one game since the last podcast, other than Ni no Kuni, which we already discussed on the mini-sode. So if you want to check out thoughts on Ni no Kuni, go check out the first episode. What the fuck? I can't talk anymore. The first mini-sode that we did on the page. So, but that one game is Fire Emblem Awakening.
Dun, dun,
And
dun,
dun dun dun. Not only is this the best Fire Emblem game that I've ever played, this so far is the best game I've played this year.
Better than
Awesome.
Ni no Kuni.
Better than Ni no Kuni.
Holy shit.
I am having so much more fun with Fire Emblem Awakening that it's ridiculous because Fire Emblem is one of those types of games where it's kind of like watching, if you're really into chess, which I'm not, but it's kind of like watching people play chess. And if you really know the moves and stuff and you can see things coming. There was one day where I was outnumbered almost 3-1 on this board. And I saw like what was coming, and I got in my mind the strategy I was going to do. So I just put my people in a block defensive formation, and I just sat back and I watched the enemy just break themselves on me. And I mean, within 2 turns, I had their numbers down by half. I mean, there's so many ways you can approach each of these boards that it really needs to have like that PlayStation 4 share option, because I would have loved to have a video of that, because I set up a thing to do and it worked perfectly. Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Steven, you still there? I think we lost Steven.
Still here.
Oh,
No,
okay.
still here.
Okay, because
Sorry,
there was
I
like
put
this.
my thing on mute so I could type, and I didn't want to do clickety click.
Okay, well,
I was,
quit
I
doing
was
that.
gonna look up. I was wanting to look up how much Fire Emblem's going for right now, because you can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, because
but
I was going
go
to say
ahead.
there's a lot of white noise. I'm assuming coming from Steven's microphone then, because you can just kind of hear this like like a tape hiss, like when you
Right now.
like when you like put a cassette tape in during the silences, you can still hear that sound.
That was a good impression of that.
Yeah. And then as soon as you muted your mic, it went like dead silent, and I thought everything just dropped out. So.
So what you're saying is I should stay on mute then, because it's better on your ears.
No, I mean you can't really hear it.
I'm just messing with you.
But it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because. Yeah. But anyway.
Forgot where you were at.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem's great.
Fire Emblem's
PS4
great.
sharing thing.
But I really wish I could have taken like a video of that, because like the strategy I had planned worked just amazing, and like 2 turns I had their numbers cut in half, and none of my people were really damaged at all. So I don't know. There's just something about Fire Emblem that I have a hard time with strategy RPGs. I've never beaten Final Fantasy Tactics. There's a ton of other ones that I've never beaten, but Fire Emblem games I can see through to the end. And it's something about like a lot of these strategy games, the stories get really convoluted, and it's like, well, who are they talking about now? Fire Emblem games, they have a very simple storyline, but it's for a Nintendo game. Sometimes it's hard to believe that this is actually coming from Nintendo, because the storylines are very mature, very dark, and I mean it's dealing with war and death. So. Yeah. It's really a surprising thing coming from Nintendo. And I've also downloaded some of the DLC maps, and this is how they're going to keep this game going, because...
Are those priced, or what are those like?
It's...
Free download?
Let me think about this. I think like the first map is free, but you can buy a bundle of 3 maps at a time for like $5.
Okay.
So, and there are rewards to playing these maps. Like, if you beat the first map, you get to have Marth in your party. If you beat the second map, you get Roy. So you get all these classic characters. But the cool thing about it is, they're levels from old Fire Emblem games. So if you played like Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon on the DS, the first map that you play on, that's the map that you play on these DLC maps. So it's kind of cool to go back to these older games. And I was really surprised, because when you play on these older maps, the music switches to like NES style music, so it gives you even more of that nice throwback to the older games. In a lot of ways, this feels like it's an anniversary game or something. I don't know if it's Fire Emblem's anniversary or not, but it feels like.
Didn't you tell me you've never played the Game Boy Advance ones?
I have them, but I have not played. I haven't played them yet.
Oh, I was gonna say, because I'm really interested in those. But you kind of mentioned that the GameCube one was kind of a really good place to start.
Yeah. Yeah, because I haven't played the Game Boy Advance one, so I just threw them in to make sure the carts worked.
Yeah.
But I would say if you're going to start with the games, then you definitely want to start with Path of Radiance, because
I'm really interested in the series, because I really like strategy games, but like you mentioned, a lot of them are really convoluted, and I noticed that with a lot of them too. and because I just got R-Type Command, and it's pretty fun, but I could see getting myself confused. I haven't played it very much, and Tactics Ogre for the PSP. Like, I have no idea what the hell is going on. Like the
Yeah.
characters' names and everything is just so foreign to me. It's just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I have no idea. What am I fighting for here? I have no idea. So I really get what you mean, and so for the Fire Emblem games to have more of a simple approach, I think I would really like them.
Yeah, and Awakening, Fire Emblem has always had a very hardcore reputation to it because if one of your, in Final Fantasy Tactics, if one of your units dies, that's okay because you get them back at the end of the level.
Yeah.
In Fire Emblem, if they die, they're gone. So I really think in this game you can turn that off. You can turn the permadeath off. So for people that are intimidated by Fire Emblem, this is a great game for them to start with because you can turn it off, get used to the mechanics, and then go back and play it with it on and get the full experience.
That's what turns me off about XCOM, Enemy Unknown. I really want to play it, but it's like the same thing. It's
no,
I'm so worried about
Yeah.
like playing and killing people.
You can turn it off in that one too.
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Okay.
I was going to say, that's even worse because it'll erase your entire save file.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think I'll play that one.
Yeah. But you can turn it off. You can turn it off.
You can turn it off.
That sounds really frustrating, but anyway.
But in Fire Emblem, like for me, I keep the permadeath on, and whenever I lose a unit, I reload the map, start over. Because, and I think that's the way you should play it because it makes you think, well, that strategy didn't work. Maybe if I use these 2 units instead, and rethink your strategy. So you get to be a better player by keeping that permadeath on because it raises the stakes.
Awesome.
I've been talking to Jonathan Rector of Super Squirrel Games, and he's been playing it as well. And I was talking to him, and he's like, "Man, I've lost so many units." And I was just like, "You didn't start the maps over?" He's like, "Well, no." I was like, "So you don't care about losing units?" Well, they're not like the main characters. I was like, "Oh my god!" Because I mean, really, you can get into a bad spot with Fire Emblem if you lose too many units. Because I mean, you get more as the game goes on, and of course, with the DLC, you can go and get Marth and Roy and all these old characters. But yeah, you can get yourself into a bad situation if you let too many of your characters die.
In Final Fantasy Tactics, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was kicking myself because I was trying to keep to my resolution for the first 6 months and only buy 3 new releases.
I was gonna ask you about that.
I didn't put actually. I'm on the 3rd one now, so I can't get any more as far as new releases. But I should have made Fire Emblem one of them because just today I walked into GameStop to we had just gone out to eat. I was like, I want to run in. They had a copy of Front Mission on DS, the remake.
Yeah.
And Classic Game Room just did a video on it and stuff. It's actually a game that's getting hard to find, and I'd recommend if your GameStop has one, go snatch it because it's only $8 there. Woo. And right now, just cart only, it's like 20 something online. So if you can find it, I'd get it while you can. But I went over, picked it up because they had a copy. But I went in the store and I said, I'm here to pick up a DS game. And they said, I hope not Fire Emblem. I was like, no, actually, no. I'm trying to get Front Mission. And they're like, whew, good, because that game is not coming in and it hasn't been in a while. So apparently it is insanely hard to find Fire Emblem anywhere to purchase.
On the one hand, that really sucks. But on the other hand, I'm happy that that's happened because it kind of proved something I said after I played the demo in my demo impressions video, which I think that this is going to be the Fire Emblem that makes the series big in North America because it's kind of been a sleeper hit in North America for a long time.
It's getting such rave reviews, it's insane. Like there's been nothing but praise for it.
I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to think about all the games coming out. It's got a very good chance by the end of the year to still be the #1 game. It's just the storyline is fantastic, the graphics, and this is like one of the only 3DS games that I will play in 3D because like when you're going around on the map, you wouldn't think like, it'd be that impressive. But there's like all these smoke effects and birds flying over as you're moving your units around, and it really is kind of an impressive 3D effect. And then the cutscenes. Oh my god, those cutscenes are just gorgeous. It's like cell shaded to the max. I mean, not even like Ni no Kuni's cell shaded looked this good. I mean, it's definitely CGI, not
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But man, it's like I watch it, and I'm like, holy! I mean, it blurs the reality with the cartooniness in such a way that it's mind blowing to look at.
Well, I have a feeling I'm not because the way it was sold out and the praise it's getting, I think it'll be like Radiant Historia, and I think we'll see another hopefully
Yeah.
re-release with some more copies coming out. But if not, I mean, there you go, Chance. You got to be on the lookout for something for me now because
All
I'm gonna
right.
have to break. I'm gonna have to break my resolution and get this game just in case.
Is
Plus,
is it
with
sold
my
out online
tax,
too?
I was trying to check, but I didn't want my typing to
Ah,
bug anybody. So, but it's just insane how it's got great reviews, and I just started recently. I listened to one episode of IGN's Nintendo podcast. It was only like 45 minutes long, and they were talking about Fire Emblem and how it's their number one DS game, 3DS game for all of them, and they don't see anything taking it down. And they're actually, I'm glad since Dustin mentioned it. They mentioned the marriage concept in it. Have you reached that point in the game to
um,
do the marriage?
just the only unit that's married so far is two units that marry because of the storyline to sort of
Okay.
introduce you to the mechanic. That's a great thing about it too. Fire Emblem has a lot of mechanics to it, and I feel like this game really eases you into them. But with the marriage mechanic, I just haven't got any of my units you have to build up their compatibility with each other, and I've been
Yeah.
really trying with my avatar character and the healer character that you start out with to make them. But it's hard to keep those two units together because my avatar character is a bastard with the sword, man. He'll just rip through anything with a sword, and he's always on the front lines. And you cannot, you have to be very careful about where you put that healer character because the enemy AI will take advantage of any weakness you show. So if I get that healing character too close to the front lines, they're going to send in troops to take that healing character out. So
Yeah.
it's very hard. But luckily, it's cool though because there's a staff called Psychic, which basically allows you to cast a healing spell anywhere on the board. It's a very big range of attack, and even you don't have to be next to each other to get that sort of affinity boost. You can just use Psychic, have her cast that spell, and have him way far away, and you still get that affinity boost. So that's how I've been building them up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
They can
I'm
eventually.
hard.
I guess if they get married, they can eventually have kids, and
Yeah, that's what happens.
you'll
Yeah,
get a new
kids.
unit that way.
But say I'm super into strategy RPGs. Were my favorite till I really started jumping into the JRPGs and everything turn based. But so I love strategy
Yeah.
RPGs. So I definitely need to get it. And Chance, you say you have a hard time trying to get into them. If I was going to recommend starter strategy based ones, I'd say Jeanne d'Arc hands down for the PSP. I think that's an easy one to try to. What would you think, Dustin? That one, or did you play that one?
I haven't played that one, but I just watched Metal Jesus just did a PSP hidden gems video, and he talked about Jeanne d'Arc. And
Yeah,
I've heard about. I mean, everyone, whenever they talk about a strategy RPG, they always talk about that one. I think Mr. RPG Crazy talked about it a lot too. And I
yeah.
really want to get it, but I can't find it now, so I'm gonna have to go online and get it. But
I'd say hands down, that's a great one to start with. It's easier, and had I'm surprised he put it in a hidden gems one because I think it's so known within the community now. It's not really a hidden gem anymore.
I never
yeah,
even heard
But
of it
I'm glad. Well, there you go. It's cool that he still mentioned it, and
until
now
just now.
it's
I
so
haven't
funny
watched
that
that video yet.
I have a outlet store that opened up here about 3 months ago called Ollie's, and I think you got one near you, Dustin, because I think you
yeah,
said you went in one, and
yeah.
I went in there, no joke, 2 weeks ago, and in they sell games in there, and I didn't I sold Jeanne d'Arc was the very first strategy RPG I bought and played on a PSP. That was my first game for it, first strategy RPG I ever played, and loved it. But I traded my games in back then. Went in there 2 weeks ago. There it is, brand new, sealed, $7. I bought it. Last copy in a Ollie's outlet store.
Nice.
So I got
Yeah,
it back in the collection.
I'm not incredibly new to strategy RPGs. I put 40 plus hours into Final Fantasy Tactics Advance for the Game Boy Advance, and I love it. It's just one of those games that, for me, it's just tough to sit down and play for an extended period of time, just
Yeah.
because I get almost bored with it. It's like because the battles take so long. It's like, oh my gosh,
I
I just
think
want to
those.
stop playing this right now. I just want to turn it off. But you can actually save mid battle, which is pretty cool. And back to there's actually a permadeath on that one too, but it's only in certain areas.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce them, but it's like JAGD, jagged or whatever. If you're in one of those areas and you have a battle, that same deal. It's permadeath there. So I'm familiar with the old turning off the Game Boy trick to start the battle over. Because yeah, and I put it down for a really long time, and I picked it back up. I don't know, like 6 months ago, and played quite a bit more, but then kind of got tired of it again. So it's been a while since I've played it. But it's one of those games that I've been playing for so long. I picked it up when I was in high school, actually. So I've been playing the game for like 7 years, something like that. So
I'd say I'd recommend Tactics Advance over War of the Lions because no War of the Lions gets a lot of rave reviews on the PSP, but the load times are horrendous and
really,
it takes forever just to finish one battle because of the load times on that game. So
and I think they're
as
all
good as it
three.
is, I'd
Aren't
steer
they
away
all
from
three
it.
technically the same story anyway? The advance or the tactics for the PS1, the GBA game, and the War of the Lions, aren't they
No,
technically the same story?
War of the
No, they're
Lions and
not.
the PS1 version are the same.
Okay,
The
so the
advan
Game Boy Advance one is different.
yeah,
Okay,
Started off with Snowball Fight in that one,
that
right?
was
yeah,
the
yeah,
best part of that game.
the snowball fight.
Yeah, I booted that up and I was like, holy crap, that is awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like
Epic
the
training.
totema aspect with the crystal, the JP energy stuff.
Yeah.
When you get the
Mhm.
JP points and you can use the totema attacks, I think that's pretty cool. I didn't know for the longest time what those JP points did. After you win a battle, you would get experience, and the judge would award you one JP point. And I was like, "What the hell is this for?" And it dawned on me not that long ago. Oh, that you get those to use the totema. So that was pretty cool. But that's good to know that the PS1 version and the War of the Lions version are the same. I actually bought War of the Lions once, and I bought it on eBay, and I got it in the mail, and the case was perfect. It's got the manual in it. Opened it up, and it's Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII.
Oh
So
no,
yeah,
that's
I
a
was
great
kind
game
of
though
bummed
too for
out.
me. So
I was kind of bummed out, but at the same time, it's like, well, I wanted this game too, but now I don't have the case for it, but I have the empty case for War of the Lions. So whatever.
And I was gonna say another just well for anyone then out there if you're new to strategy one's Luminous Arc. That's actually it's a good strategy RPG on the DS. They have
Kind of
two in a
expensive though.
series on it. I was gonna look it up right now, so
I,
you're gonna hear my typing
yeah. I
for
think I looked it
Amazon.
up not too long ago and it was like, wow, that's gone up in price. It's like $30 new, I think, or $30 used, I think.
I see one. It's like 17 used, but that could be a cart only, so who knows? But that was the one where I had my infamous. I bought it new, and they were advertising for $25, and it wound up being a European copy. I was so pissed, but I love their big cases, so I wasn't too mad. But and it's the
I think
same
there's
game.
a I think there's a Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2
On the DS.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
DS.
on the DS.
Grimoire
Grimoire of the
Rift.
Rift. And I wonder what that's about. I
That's a little pricey as well to try to
Yeah.
find.
It's a I think it's because the Game Boy Advance version is kind of if I remember correctly, it's a different universe than War of the Lions. Like War of the Lions is like the real universe, and then
yeah.
like the Game Boy Advance version is like a parallel universe or something.
Yeah, it's like they're like trapped inside of a storybook or
Yeah.
something like that. I
And,
can't remember.
and A2 is the same thing. It's a
Okay.
continuation of that Game Boy Advance world.
Now, question here because I'm looking at my list of games to buy. Now, since we're talking about Final Fantasy spin-offs, are the Crystal Chronicles games on the DS the same as the ones on the Wii? The titles are the same, but
I think so.
maybe not.
And
There's
you-
Echoes of Time and Ring of Fate, and like there's Crystal Bearers, and Echoes of Time for the Wii.
yeah, and if I'm trying to remember correctly, I think the DS versions are the ones you want to get.
Okay.
Because I think the Wii version is, honest to God, just a port of the DS version.
Really? Well, that's strange.
Yeah.
I just got Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube recently, so I was,
And those are more action RPG, right? If I'm
Yeah.
remembering
which I'm
correctly.
okay with
Yeah.
They're kind of
because I
more
like action
co-op-ish
RPGs.
too, I think.
Mhm.
Like you want to have
Yeah,
somebody.
there's like something with Crystal Chronicles like that you can like plug in Game Boy Advances and like your friends could use those as controllers or something like that.
Yeah.
Like and control a character on the screen on the TV, which I thought was kind of a strange but cool uh, thing. I wonder why that didn't catch on more, with other games. But yeah, I think it's probably one of those games that's better played with more people. Like it's more exciting, like more things going on. But I haven't even started it yet. I'm afraid to. I got
That's
so
cool.
many games. I especially RPGs. I have so many RPGs unfinished right now. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say this thing with the Luminous Arc one. You're saying with some of the battles taking too long and strategy ones. Luminous Arc does a good job of the battles actually don't take too long. If I think the longest battle I had in that one might have been, and maybe this is long to some, but 30 minutes might be tops. It's nothing like an hour or 45 minutes or nothing. So yeah, if that helps for quicker battles or anything, but those would be the two I recommend. And since I actually wanted to mention something I was thinking about today, since I heard them talk about this in that podcast with Fire Emblem, he started his main character as a female. Did you start as a male or female, Dustin, in the game?
Male.
And I was gonna ask, do I don't know. He said he was a female and he was trying to find a male character to marry and everything. I'm not trying to get like into a political discussion or anything, but I'm like I love women, so I just could never see myself playing as a female character, trying to find a male husband. I
Yeah.
was gonna say, would you guys find that hard, or would it actually be easy to do? Would
Well,
you be able to do it?
that brings up an interesting thing because I've actually thought about replaying the Mass Effect games as Fem Shep.
I
Um,
heard it's better
I heard it's
as
better.
femship.
Yeah, and like I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, would I? Because the relationships are such a big part of it, and I was like, well,
You can go for a girl in the third
would I,
one,
would I go?
does.
Would I go for Talia? Well, you can go. I mean, as Fem Shep, you could go for Talia in the first game, and because that race is sort of androgynous.
Yeah, you're right. You can. I'm
So,
guessing so. I mean, but would you guys feel, or would you be able to do that, or does that keep you from playing a female character, or would you find it tough to do that? And I'm not saying you have to be homosexual to be able to do it. You can be hetero to
well,
do it, but I mean,
look at it this way though. Like when you played 13-2, you were playing as Sarah,
yeah,
and you were rooting for. I mean, you were rooting for Sarah and Noel, or
no,
Sarah. Sorry, Sarah and Snow in your regards. So I
yes.
mean, sorry, I was rooting for Sarah and Noel, but so it's kind of the same thing when you think about it.
I don't know. I guess just in Fire Emblem, you're kind of picking and choosing. Like, I like his qualities or his qualities.
Oh,
I don't know. It just feels weird to me to be able
you're not
to do
basing it on looks. You're basing it on their attributes. Come on.
it. But and there was
Well, this
also that
this coming from the guy whose Halo 4 character is in fact a woman.
it is a woman. I play as a woman.
Oh
And his
yeah.
his
Oh yeah.
pink armor and breastises and everything.
Yeah. Now we.
But I don't have to pick someone to be with, and
So-
it's just weird. It's like there was that
No,
limited
you're just with
release
your other
game,
male friends who are also females in the game.
and our clan tag name is no joke. It's Queefin. It's Queef. So
Instead of teabagging.
we queef people. This is an OP podcast. That's what we call it. Dustin's just sitting there shaking his head right now.
I,
Like,
Oh,
I literally
guys.
was shaking my head.
what are we
It
talking?
is freaking funny.
I was literally shaking my head.
I think I
It's
did.
great.
I know when people see that online, they're probably like, "What the heck?" But anyways, I know there was that PSP game, Hakuki or Demon Soul, or I forget what it's called. It was one of the
The visual novels.
last, yeah. And in that game, you're playing as a female lead, like trying to find a husband or anything. And it was kind of targeted for a female audience, and I don't know. I didn't buy it because I just couldn't see myself in a female role living out her life trying to pick a husband and everything. I just couldn't do it just because I don't know what it's like to be a female to pick a man to be with. So I was just wondering if it was tough for anyone to do that, or they could just do it. Like I don't have problems playing Bayonetta or anything like that. Mirror's Edge. I'm all about female leads, but
I never really thought about it.
well,
I
not many
always thought it
games
was.
actually offer a chance to do it. So
I always thought it was weird. I don't know. This is not like a sexist statement or anything, but I always thought it was weird when I played games, as a female, even if it didn't, if it didn't give you a choice, like Final Fantasy 13. Like I didn't play it. I didn't play through all the way, but I don't know. It was just something a little bit different, to play as Lightning, and then especially a really early game, Fantasy Star, the first one. Like it was just kind of even though I just played that, like this year or last year, it was just kind of a strange thought, to play as a female, and I like it. It's great. I like female characters in games a lot. I love it.
yeah.
But I don't know. It's just I never really thought about like what you're asking me, because I've never played a game where that was necessary.
Yeah, that's why I'm be intrigued to see. I think it brings up just interesting conversation to talk. I think you can have it with and just having a good conversation, not trying to be derogatory to anything, but like just Fem Trooper to see what her views would be on just playing as male leads. But she want to be more of a female lead in characters. And I think games like Mirror's Edge, like I said, I don't think that would have felt as good as a male character. I think it worked better with Faith as a female character. So
I just
oh,
I had
go ahead,
this
Dustin.
I had this vision of a young, very young Steven playing through the first Metroid and getting to the end. And he's like, "Yeah, I beat the game." And then she takes her armor off, and he just drops the controller, and his face gets like, "Oh, I'm a woman," and it's just scarred him for life. And that's why
No, it's nothing
that's why he's
like
having
that.
problems now.
No, it's nothing like that.
Yes,
Like,
I still, even to
no,
this
it was a
day,
woman.
I
I
don't,
kicked so much
I don't,
ass. Oh, I'm a woman.
I still don't think about Samus being a woman just because the armor, you can't see it, so I just don't think of it
Oh,
that way, whether it's
come
male or
on,
female.
Chance. That armor is so shapely.
Well,
It
I'm
is
talking
so
about like
Look at them.
Metroid 2, Super Metroid,
Look at them hips.
uh, whatever. I'm still saying, it just doesn't cross my mind when I'm playing Metroid. But you're exactly right, though. Like when you get to the end, it's like, wait a
Well,
minute.
I am actually, since you said Dustin, I lost my save files for the first and second Mass Effects to carry over. So I am going to start over, and I am going to do a female lead from the first game, and it's going to be cool seeing how it goes. And I am going to try to experience that and see what it
And you're
goes
gonna
to.
you're gonna fall in love with Gaius. I
I'm
guarantee it.
probably going to fall in love with a woman. I'm
Oh,
going to be. It's probably going to happen. I don't know, but I'm gonna try to see with the qualities in which man I'd like to be with, and choose from there. I don't know.
yeah,
It's
but
gonna be a fun thing.
look at it this way. It'd be interesting to see. See, the reason why I want to go back and replay it as the Fem Shep is because there was a lot of to do over the sex scenes in Mass Effect when every one of them came out, and
Hmm.
whenever they showed like the scenes and they were talking about them, it was always when they played as male Shep, and talking about how like not overly sexy or anything, but you always had these very. I always think of Miranda from Mass Effect 2 because that's who I ultimately picked as my love interest at the end of the
Same
game.
here. I picked the same person. You're right.
And
Well, I didn't play 3, so I don't know if she's in that yet.
yeah,
So.
well, she is, but she's not part of your team. You know what I mean? She's not like
Mhm.
she just is there storyline wise, but you can pick her as your love interest. And she is through her storyline, she's basically the engineered to be like the perfect woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's very shapely in all the right places. And I think it was I can't remember if it was the sex scene. I think it was a sex scene in 2. Even that I was watching. I was like, "Ooh, that's getting a little risque." And I'm the type of guy that doesn't really like sex doesn't enter my mind in a risque fashion. You know what I mean? It's just nature. I get more
Yeah.
weirded out by extreme violence than I do sex and things. But even then, I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of going a little far for a video game." So I'm interested to see if the femshep scenes are just as racy, and if they are just as racy, are they just as racy in the reverse, where they're making the men look like eye candy? You know what I mean? Do they cater them to the women players. Is I guess what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, you got a point there. Yeah, I guess the plus part would be for me, like you said, playing through the second one. It's gonna be tough not choosing Miranda again because I liked her so much. But it will be interesting perspective to go through that way. And yeah, don't mean to step on any toes or offend anyone, but I think you bring up good conversation. Like leave comments. Do you find it tough playing as a female or male lead if you're opposite? And I think it'd be cool going through as a female femme shep, trying to pick your male love interest. So I'm gonna go for it. Probably not this year because I got too many backlog stuff already, but it's gonna be cool because, like you said, I heard femme shep's story. I don't know how it could be better, but
it's just her voice
people
acting.
Say it's better.
Her voice acting just sells it more.
So it's gonna be cool.
Well, I haven't played Mass Effect at all, so.
Oh, what happened?
That's my. Yours changed too, so.
Yeah.
Maybe it's trying to say you guys are done. You're being sexist and you're done. We're cutting you off.
Aww.
Which I'm not trying to be if I was. Oh, sorry. I wasn't trying to be.
I do really need to play Mass Effect, so it'll be interesting to see, which one I choose when I finally do get to that point.
Well, it's obvious you got to do a female now because it's.
I think so, because everybody's saying how much better it is. I might as well.
Yep.
But I got to get them first.
Get the trilogy.
Is there like a trilogy pack?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is there like a trilogy pack that has all three?
Yeah, I think there is in there.
Probably,
like a little box set.
That's probably what I'll end up getting.
Yeah. The first one's a bit of a slog to get through compared to the other two, but.
Okay. I would have said the second one was, history has said that the second game is usually the hardest one, or the pain in the ass one to get through.
Actually, I think the second one's the best out of the trilogy.
Really?
It is. Well, I've only played the first and second one, but it's way better than the first. I loved it compared to the first, even though the first one's a great game. And
it's just slow.
How could it be any better?
It's just really slow compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get that. I actually wrote down a couple other games, or one that I really would like to get is Aliens Colonial Marines. I'm really interested in that game. I don't know why. It just looks awesome, and I need to get
one of the worst reviewed games of all time. He's
really
very interested. Yes, I was so excited.
I haven't heard it as being that badly reviewed, but I guess I'm not watching the same reviews. But it looks interesting to me.
I think it's a game which I don't know if I'm on a worse delay now or something. I'm still probably going to get it when it's cheap because it is co-op. And me and my buddy, heck, if you want to play with me, Chance would be great. But I think it'll still be a fun experience just going through blasting aliens together with a friend. But they really bashed it in the reviews. And I think it's got like an average of 2 or 4 on Metacritic right now. It's pretty
I typically like games that people bash, so.
Oh.
I think it would still be fun, so. Especially with playing with somebody.
Right on. And there's lots of other aliens type games out there that I've seen, like the actual Alien. I just have my list up there again. There's one for the Xbox, like Alien vs Predator Extinction. I think there's an Alien vs Predator for the current gen too. I'm interested in it. I think it's just because I really like Alien that I'm interested in it. Maybe that has something to do with it. Just the association with Sigourney Weaver kicking ass. But who knows?
Nothing wrong with that. I know another thing we didn't talk about, which did you guys watch the latest Nintendo Direct conference? Which probably isn't. It's been a while ago now. I think a week or two now. But you guys watch that? What about you, Dustin?
I didn't watch it.
Well, we should be excited because they again the 3DS is looking like the console to have this year because it's coming out with Luigi's Mansions 2. They showed off there's a new Mario and Luigi game coming out, and people were disappointed with Paper Mario Sticker Star. I know I was, and I kind of feel the same from Dustin. He's probably a little disappointed in that game, taking away all the RPG elements.
I didn't finish it, so.
This one, yeah, and this one is going to be an RPG. You're going to level up. You're going to get experience. And I don't know if you guys played the Mario and Luigi games, but I'm super stoked about that game coming out this year. It just seems like the year of the 3DS and the RPG. Like we've said, it's just going to be awesome.
I really, really tossed it around today and in the past few days because, like you said, I just bought a PS3 today, actually, which is, like we mentioned before the podcast, interesting that I bought a PS3 today and we're talking about the PS4 on this podcast. And last time I had just bought a Wii and we talked about the Wii U quite a bit. But I really tossed it around. I could not decide if I should buy a PS3 or a 3DS. And ultimately I just decided, since I will say I did use some tax refund money to buy it, I think that my reasoning was that, just initially I would need more money to buy the PS3 than to buy the 3DS. So I think a 3DS will be more affordable for me to buy, when I don't have this extra cash, I guess. So that's how I justified it. And I don't regret it. I will get a 3DS sometime this year, probably. Hopefully I can find one used. I'm hoping that I can find one maybe even locally used, that I could get, for, not near as much as they are. Under $100 would be nice, but I'm not going to hold my breath or anything. But at the same time, I really would like to go ahead and stretch for the 3DS XL. And I don't know. I don't know why I haven't got one of these systems yet, especially for as much as you two talk about 3DS games and all the really, really good ones that have come out recently. It's just one of those things, like, why the heck don't I have one yet? But it's because I spent so much money on other games.
It really is becoming my favorite console to, or even though it's not a console, but handheld to play games on. It's just got so many great ones right now. But yeah, loving it. So, did you get your PS3 new, or did you buy a used one, or is it a backwards compatible one? Which one did you get?
It's kind of a combination, and I'll explain. I explained this to Dustin right before the podcast. Sony released a package deal. I don't know when it was, along, some point, where they released this 320 gig, I think it's a slim, PS2 or PS3 with like Sony Move or something like that. The guy at GameStop was explaining this to me. Like, released it with some accessory in game, and it sold like crap. So what they did was that they split up these packs then and sold the two items separately. Like, so they sold the PS3s as, quote, refurbished PS3s, but technically they're brand new, never been used before, for the price of a used one at GameStop's. So I actually picked up a brand new one in a used box, 320 gig PS3 Slim. Everything is still sealed in the plastic packages and stuff, and the PS3 has never been plugged in or anything. And I got it for $250. So I'm pretty pleased with that. It was a good price, I think, and I picked up some cheap games. I was going to pick up Ni no Kuni, but they didn't have a copy, so I picked up Demon Souls, which I know is not an exclusive, but it was cheap.
Demon Souls is, I think, unless they did a
it is an
PC port
exclusive?
of it.
Yeah, Dark Souls is the one that's multi-platform.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I just assumed that they were both multi-platform because since I knew that Dark Souls was on the PS or on the Xbox 360. Okay, good. I did good with that one then, accidentally. I picked up Battlefield Bad Company 2 just because I wanted to try out a first-person shooter, and I didn't know of any exclusives or didn't see any that really jumped out at me. But Bad Company 2 was one that I wanted to get anyway, so I figured I'd just go ahead and get it for the PS3 since it was like $6 or something like that. And I picked up White Knight Chronicles for the PS3 and also Heavenly Sword. Picked up that one too. And I think those other two that I mentioned are exclusives. So I picked up those and pretty excited to get it plugged in and try them out.
Awesome. I'd say that you could have got the first Resistance probably pretty cheap, and for second Killzone 2 probably pretty cheap for exclusive first-person shooter.
So I saw Killzone
if you want
3 there, and I kind of tossed around getting it. Huh?
Oh, they didn't have 2 in there?
I didn't see it. I saw the third one, but I passed on it because I didn't know very much about the series. And
isn't there a trilogy?
I did find one.
Isn't there a trilogy pack for that too? Like they have the.
I think there is. Yeah, they just came out with it. Yeah. So there you go. You can get all 3 exclusives.
Well, I did pick up one lone Xbox 360 game just because it looked very lonely on the shelf and it was dirt cheap. It's Project Sylphid Arc of Deception from Square Enix for $2.69. So I couldn't deny myself that a 360 game for $2. So
sweet.
Yeah. So that's my latest additions. I'll probably do pickups video. You know, I said in my last one that I wasn't going to do another one, and that I wasn't going to buy stuff. Oh well.
It's only money.
It always happens. What do you?
It's only money. They're only bills.
You got anything else on your mind? Let's say you got anything else on your mind, Dustin, or you want to wrap this one up?
I think we unless you guys want to talk about Dragon Ball some more.
It sounds like my delay in my mic's getting horrible, so I don't know. It sounds like I'm on a 1.5 second delay now.
Yeah.
Well, this one didn't hit the 3-hour mark, so I guess that's a good thing.
We'll see. Maybe people really want 3-hour-long podcast videos. I don't know.
Well, I know that I could put in another 2 hours or so, but that's just because I talk a lot.
Well, people will get lots of chance to hear you on future episodes since you are now a permanent member. So that they'll get to hear a lot of chance. Yeah, so go ahead and call it there. Go ahead and just call this one a wrap.
All right. Well, thanks everyone.
It was good hanging out with you.
Geez.
See, that's how bad the delay is.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
I'm saying bye now, and you guys can take us out. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good evening or day, morning, thing.
Whenever. We're out. No, we're not.